let's go.
Let it all out, we gon' let it out. With wounds in the way. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. With wounds in the way.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another segment of Wounds in the Way with me, Apryl Jones, and my manager, Melissa. So, honestly, I really just want to get down to the nitty-gritty and speak to you guys about what it is that we're feeling. And
there's a whole lot, I think. There's a whole lot of nitties and gritties, to be honest with you.
It's so many nitties and gritties.
Where do you even start? I feel like through all of it, though, you have been so incredibly positive, which has really been a blessing for me to watch personally from this side. I don't really understand how, well, you tend to be much more positive than I am. I tend to go more towards the negative right away, whereas you somehow navigate your way through everything in a way that just keeps a positive attitude, right? So even, it's crazy because you just did, well, you did a movie recently, and I just want to say, first of all, you slayed. You're amazing. I through it all, Apryl, you remained positive through everything that you were dealing with. And no one's gonna freaking know what that was because you—
Did you guys hear what I was dealing with?
And then you watch the movie and it's just such amazing flow. Like you did, it was really natural. And there are some things not, okay, so I'm comparing the evolution of you as an actress, right? In the past, you have acted.
Yes.
You like killed this one, like to the point where, and I know you know it because you've been getting a lot of like crazy good feedback too. But I've also been doing the work, guys. I'm acting. Sorry, thanks. Okay. You put the
and that had nothing to
in.
do with who I was dating, because that's what you guys will say. You know, and it didn't. It was me putting in my work, taking my acting classes, showing up and being faithful. Thank you, Sherry Shaw, by the way. Love you so much.
That was a good plug.
Promo.
But at the same time, you guys did have great synergy because that you had great synergy. And if you know, like the whole. Like the storyline behind it.
Yeah.
You were dealing with some stuff.
I was.
Behind the scenes on that set with some serious like relationship stuff, right?
Like most relationships.
Like most relationships. But you were able to channel a lot of that and stick that into this movie, right? And in all of that, so I remember you were in Atlanta and you're filming.
Yeah.
And just talking to you in between scenes. And there were some real intense, heavy moments.
Yeah.
Right? With like emotions and stuff you're dealing with, like real stuff, and still you were able to remain positive through all of that. This is something I need to personally learn, because I'm telling you, I go all the way to the negative right away and I stay there and it's just such a yucky feeling and nothing good comes out of it. How the heck do you do that? Because I need to take notes myself.
Well, I mean, particularly for that, the movie, you know, and going through what I was going through behind the scenes, what I recognize is, first of all, number one, it's not just about me, I'm a creative. So it was about like giving you guys on the outside something good and great, you know? And it wasn't about me putting or feeling my own, and this is why creatives struggle a lot, is because it's like, we have to remove our own personal feelings to be able to give the world the gift.
Yeah.
But when it's all said and done, the realization is, we got some shit happening behind these cameras, and stuff is really happening. So, I don't know. I mean, it was really hard during that course of time to be focused.
That's what I was gonna say. What did you have in your focus? What were you focusing on that allowed you to be positive?
The people, because it was almost like a proving. For me, it was like, I've got to prove, because I've worked so hard already to get to where I'm at, and I've been so destroyed by the world for such a long time that it was at this moment where it was like, no one's energy, I don't care if you're yelling at me, and no one's taking this away from me. This is what I'm gonna do, this is my gift, and I'm doing it. So, scene, ready, let's go.
And you let nobody take it, that was real. Nobody's taking this away from me.
And I channeled that. Yeah. And then, you know, I handled it when it was off camera.
And it really showed. It really showed that you were able to channel that in there. And it worked because I felt it, like as a consumer, not as a manager, not as your friend.
Yeah.
I felt like I was really following. I didn't feel like it was acting. I think that's what makes a great actress, is when you as the consumer are watching it and you don't feel like, oh my God, they're acting. Like,
but you know what, to me, what I felt like when I was actually acting, what I felt like in my body was that I was extremely grounded.
Oh.
I felt that way when I was acting. It was like, I don't want to put on, I want to be myself. I really identified with that character a lot because I feel like women go through that. I've gone through that where it's like, oh, the man cheats on you. Oh, you still gotta love him. Okay, hey, I don't wanna live in Atlanta. We're gonna go to Kansas. And then we move to Kansas. And then it's like, okay, well, I got a job. Now it's about me. What you gonna do to make sure you support me? So now we're gonna go back. And now I've got to be confronted with all the things that we left, wounds in the way. You still got to deal with the things that you didn't really want to have to deal with, which was the Melanie girl, you know what I mean? Or like the ex-girlfriend, his mother, relationships that we had left. And I don't know, I just really identified with it. It was like, wow, okay, like you're going to come for me?
You know why you chose, you know why you could identify that is because you chose you. In the movie, you chose you, but in real life. And that's the one thing.
Yeah.
So not only are you always positive, this is one lesson that I've really learned from you in the, 10 plus years of us working together is watching you decide to choose you. And not in a selfish way, because that's what I thought. I thought that it's always super selfish for you to choose yourself and not choose somebody else. That seems selfish to me. But what I've learned in just watching how you move is that it's not that you chose yourself and F everybody else. Okay, sometimes though, hold on. Sometimes you did do that, but you had to do that. You had to be like, you know what?
For my own sanity.
Yeah, for your own sanity.
Yeah.
But most of the time it was like, no, I'm choosing myself for my children. I'm choosing myself because I don't deserve this. And I've literally watched you. Oh my God, I remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm excited because I remember this one thing, and this is my first experience with you in a personal way, not necessarily a professional way, because up to this point we had just really done business, right? When you had a circumstance with the father of your babies, right, where all of us had, known each other for a while, whatever, worked together for a while, and I remember that something happened. You can touch more on this from your perspective, but from the outside looking in perspective, you felt very slighted, disregarded, devalued, and pushed to the side. And when you could not get, you tried too. You tried like, okay, talk to me. Let's work this out. And when you couldn't get that answer from that person, literally, I remember the next thing was you packed up and
a breakup.
And like it was a breakup. It was, but it wasn't just a breakup. It was like, well, I'm okay. I'll go and handle my own self. I don't care how I'm gonna do it. I will figure this out, and I'm choosing me. And I was like,
right. But I'm saying what you're talking about because I was trying to figure out what you were saying.
Oh it's the breakup. When you guys broke up, yes.
So it was that time when I had my daughter. She was 2 months old. And it was like, we were good up until then. I don't know. Babies really do sometimes, guys. They change people. And for whatever reason that is, I don't know. I know it changed me because I had postpartum. So what that does to a dad, I don't know, especially when they have girls. But, he went overseas, and I was going through what I was going through, taking care of 2 kids. And, he came back and he just said he needed a break. And I was like, well, how does one just need a break when I need a break? God damn it, I just had a second baby. And I got a 1.5-year-old and now a 2-month-year-old. This is crazy, but okay. Yet and still trying to support, his decision making. So it was like, cool. We went to my sister's wedding at the time, which was in June of 2016. Like, you know what I mean? When we broke up in May of 2016, like I still tried to be there. But then it got to a point as a woman, as a woman who empowers other women, and as a human being, where I was like, you're not answering the question. It was a very great deal of deflection. You can't tell me why you need a break. You can't tell me why you don't want to be in this anymore. And listen, no one is going to hold a knife to your neck. I think that if you're, you don't want me or, want to be in this, that's okay.
You're just asking for communication.
Yeah, just talk
to me. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what I wasn't receiving. And I felt like it was like trying to pry it out. And I was tired at that point. I was like, I'd rather, if I've got a deal, if I've just had another baby, I'm dealing already with 2 kids, I don't need a third one.
Yeah.
And that's how I thought.
Right.
I was like, so you know what? Bye. I'm gonna move out. And he was like, we don't, it doesn't have to be that. Like, I didn't think it was, well, what did you think it was gonna be?
Okay,
and
let's go ahead, sorry.
So I just say this to say, like, I got my power back when I decided to just like make that decision for myself, because I knew it was not healthy for me. I knew where I was already going mentally, and I knew that I needed space. And I knew that I needed to be the best mother that I could be for my children. Yeah. So again, it wasn't about me. It was about like, adults can go through, I say this all the time, but they should not be dragged into adult life. So I made the conscious decision to be like, well, what's best is like, I don't want to be sitting here fighting, and it was over. And it was fine. He already made me feel like I was insignificant and small by just already saying you needed a break. So bye.
Okay, but this is the thing, though. The reason why I say just to
and
be
also,
clear,
by the way, hold on. Just because you guys will try to run with this narrative. Me and the father of my kids are in an amazing, incredible space. He has been doing his work, and I've been doing my work. You got to remember, we broke up in 2016, so let's not forget, guys, that time does go on. But I will resort to talking about my past because I have not talked about it. So I just want to make that clear because you guys know how y'all do.
And that's where the healing is. That's the whole point of Wounds in the Way, is like we were hurt by stuff. We're pulling those back, starting to go through that, acknowledge it, and then learn from those experiences. And I just have to say, side note, that it's actually been a really beautiful thing to watch you guys. People say co-parent all the time. You're co-parenting, but it's more than that. You're setting examples for these babies.
You know, we vowed to our children that it was going to be something that we were going to do for them.
Yeah.
You know, and for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that gives us peace.
Yeah, I love
knowing
that
they're happy. And we're in a good place. I mean, we went to Disney World. Let me tell you something. I couldn't
together
have,
as a family.
Like, I mean, it was honestly, it was me going with the kids on my own. And then I was like, well, why? I want him. Like, that's how I knew, like, I know, like, God is working through me because I was like, oh, he would want to be a part of this experience. Like the kids, I took them to Disney World a long time ago. They were younger. So now they're older. So I was like, well, I want their dad to be a part of this. Let me at least extend the invite.
Well, and it was a good timing because you guys just went to a game, a soccer game, right?
Yeah, and then
together.
And
then that's when it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most...
he loved it.
Yeah.
And then his birthday happened after he said that. I was like, let's do his birthday together. And then that ended up happening.
So the kids have been experiencing the parents together instead of the kind of, if I can say, unhealthy interaction that you've had in the past, what they were used to.
What they were used to.
So it's that's why I just love that that's so beautiful.
And we went through some things. Like it wasn't, I mean, I don't think anyone thought that we were going to see this side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of us both as parents, as a man, and as a woman. You know, it's really, I mean, and you know, but it's just really awesome to be back in a space where we've both done the healing work and continuing to do it. Because it's not about us, it's really about the children who we're seeing. It's lighting up their lives. Like, it affects their behavior. It did affect their behavior. And I was like, that was, you know, and you know, because it was affecting me. When they were going off, I was like, and I don't have help. I'm not from LA. I don't have any family here. Like, I can't leave the state of California. It's so much stuff court-wise that we went through. But it was like to feel like I can't even leave this state and then I don't have the proper help. Oh, baby, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
So they felt that energy. But now, because they see mommy and daddy are good, like my kids are so intelligent, so vocal, so smart, so loving and kind.
I mean, you're doing a great job.
First and foremost, my son, guys, calls me every day. So me and daddy go every other week. We have, and let's just nip this shit in the bud too. He does not have full custody, okay? We do 50-50 because around here we equal, y'all. All right? He's just as much as a parent as I am. But when my kids are with their dad, Mom, I just want to call you, see how you doing, Mom. You good, Mom? I be like, I'm great. You good? Just want to check on you. I love you, Mom. I'm like, oh my God.
Just making sure.
Hour later, Mom, you with Georgie Porch, which is one of my best friends. I'm like, yes. I just woke up this morning, but I thought of you. I love you, Mommy. I love you, Mom. Like he's so overprotective of me. It's so beautiful to watch because, Jesus Christ, I'm like, man, like.
You know what, too, I was just thinking about this as you were saying, like, about the 50-50 thing. You guys have always been that. That's not
We've
like
always been
something
that. There was nothing that changed.
But
well, no, I was primary. Let's not get it twisted. I was primary for the first 3.5 years. But I say this to say we went to court because I was served. Fine.
When were you served?
2018 on Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day, happy Mama's Day. So glad we're past that.
But anyway, so whatever. It's funny now when we can talk about it. But I was served on Mother's Day after I left a brunch that she was doing for me. Woo! Happy Mother's Day.
Beautiful.
But now, when we went to court, we did mediation, and the mediation was like, what do you want to do? They were like asking me, and I was like, well, I mean, I want to do 50-50. I could have done primary and given him a schedule. I could have done it, and it would have made my life easier, but God works in mysterious ways, and everything happens for a reason.
And it worked out.
But it worked out perfectly. I love that he gets you know, the kids.
And you guys
1
are
week.
so good, synchronized. Like,
I'm happy
Yeah.
that he gets the kids. I'm happy that I'm not just fully primary because I don't feel like it should just all be on me. Like, I
But
don't.
the thing is, you know, some parents that co-parent or however you want to
Yeah.
call it, I think that's so cliche, but people understand that term, is that what's weird about it sometimes is that it'll be, this is my week, this is your week, you're not taking her, you know, this.
We were that way
at the beginning.
in the beginning when we were at war, but now we're like today. And you
Yeah.
know, I'm working.
Yeah.
And I told him, and he's like, and this is my Monday. I'm supposed to be getting my kids early today. And I'm like, hey, I'm working. You know, I'm doing this podcast.
Bring them a little later.
Can you meet me here? And he's like, yeah, just let me know what time. Like, we are helping each other.
That's great.
You know, in the dynamic of how we're moving with our careers. Because, I mean, we both are unconventional lives. So it's difficult, especially for me when I don't have the necessary help because I don't have family here. But he's been doing a really good job at just being very kind and very loving to me, and I really do appreciate that. Oh, if you do see this, which you will, because I'll send it to your phone. Disregard all the things that just said.
No, that's the truth
no,
of
but it's a
it,
joke.
and it's where we have developed.
Yeah, but
people
like,
are in that space right now where you were before. There's hope.
He's been doing a really, really wonderful job, and I
Yes.
think even his family too.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been doing the work.
I love that. It's
So.
amazing, Apryl, because it literally brings hope. There are people, and there's a lot of people that we've worked with, like, and other people that we manage, other influencers that we work with too, that are still in that place, and they've been going through it for decades.
When I have friends that are like, how did you get through it? And like, they saw that post of us at the soccer game, but then they saw us at Disney World, and they were like, well, how?
Like, wait,
and
what?
I'm like, I don't know how to explain it to you. I think like sometimes, like for me, I felt like O needed to go through what he needed to go through on his own, and you can't force someone to meet you at your time. And I was patient with that, and I took the blunt force punches. I did. I feel like I did. And when he was ready to open up and be like, I'm ready, I was like, I received him.
You did, and
I
you
really
were
did.
so
And I didn't
positive.
be like, no, throw it in.
No, because you were always about peace. And do you remember, so right when you guys kind of started with the breakup, I remember hearing, I think it was Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I
and
remember
she
that.
says something like, you know what, Apryl is, I forgot exactly the words, but something about how you had like, you weren't one of those people that wanted your 15 minutes of fame. It was like, she is sitting back and she's taking the high road, even though, you know, her baby daddy might be saying this and doing that. I've never seen anybody on reality, because at the time you were on reality,
I was,
be so just really good about this and taking the high road and being professional. And I remember calling you going, good girl.
Yeah.
Like, this is great for your brand. Like, I because there are so many other people that the co-parenting thing is I mean, think about how many people, we could probably name a bunch of them, right? That it's just always like, who can get over on the other person?
Right.
Who can get to the
Jesus
blog
Christ.
fast enough to say something negative so that, what is that doing to our babies?
People don't understand how hard that is, how hard it is to not want to go online and be
Real.
like,
yeah.
because, you know, you feel that way, like inside, you really do. It like, I shed a lot of tears. A lot of tears.
Especially when stuff that's being said is not right. It's not real.
Well,
it's not
because
true.
it wasn't my reality, but I knew that like, I had kids to freaking raise, and that's their dad.
Yeah.
So I could go online, I could slander, you know, the father of my kids. I could destroy your life. That was not my goal.
Yeah.
But I was slandered.
Yeah.
Protecting. And that's another thing that I just feel like with women too, we do that so often, and it's always looked at as like, the woman's in the wrong. The woman is like, hey, hold on, because I'm a woman's woman. Why can't it just be, why can't it just be, maybe sometimes these men aren't good, and women have had enough. And women say, I choose not to be with you. Sometimes it's okay for the woman to walk away. Sometimes it's okay for the woman to be strong enough to say, enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't look at it like that's like she's the problem and her vagina must not be. You wish. Like, you thought, like, it has nothing to, I wouldn't have, I'll say this out loud because I really do feel like this about a lot of women, especially in the industry. Certain particular people have magnetic energy. I'm sorry to be one of them. I would not have ever encountered the people in my life that I've encountered that people pay attention to if I wasn't a dope soul. I do believe that about myself.
That's real.
So,
because you've
you
been
know,
connected to a whole lot of high-profile people, right?
Yeah, not
that
because
you
I
wouldn't
want
be
to.
able to do that if number one, God didn't give you the favor. Number 2, because you really are a cool person, to be real,
so cool.
right?
I'm like homie, lover, friend.
And real, and I think that's what people are attracted to is that authenticity. However, it brings me right back to my point, Apryl, is that it doesn't matter. I've literally seen you. So when we were talking about the whole thing about you moving out, the reason why I say you chose yourself was because what a lot of people don't know is you didn't have anything at that point. You had to figure it out, right? You went back to a 9-to-5 job working 13 hours in because a lot of people don't know this either. Apryl actually has a sonography. Is that how you say it?
So I have a degree in radiation science, but so what that entails is that I do ultrasounds. And so I went to...
Back to work in the hospital.
And I went to work at Martin Luther King Hospital in Watts, which is it's a known hospital, but not in a very good area, I will say that. And, they were asking me because I was so good at my job to like run the department at a point in time, but I was so drained because I was literally, people who remember me from Snapchat, I was in the dressing room pumping my breast on the phone like, hey guys, I'm at work, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, you can do this too, women, while I'm, not eating enough because I'm stressed out from the breakup, and then having to go home and breastfeed still and not eat. I was so emaciated, like I was so skinny.
Well, you ended up in the hospital.
I did end up in the hospital.
You literally ended up in the hospital, checked in, like.
With dehydration, while I was driving my kids on the road and ended up calling Amari's sister because I literally almost fainted driving. And I had to pull over, I was on my way to going to a party and I couldn't make it. And they ended up taking me to a hospital. Yeah. And I had to check in for that. But that was some really, really tough
times. And that's what I'm saying. I remember those moments. Yeah. And you still saying, even though I have nothing to fall back on but the little bit that I built, and I'm comfortable here staying in this man's house with, our children, I'm choosing me.
So can I say this too? I want to thank my mother real quick, because I never understood what my mom was so heavy on me about always, you've got to be better than me. You've got to do more than me. Girl, be quiet. I don't want to do what you want me to do. But thank you, mommy, because I love what I do. The other side of this is my radiation science, but she knew I was a creative, right? But she was so scared and terrified of me not to have anything. And you goddamn right you should have been, because if that would have happened and I didn't have nothing to fall back on, I could have lost my kids.
Absolutely.
I could have lost everything that I had, because I trusted in a man that said that he was going to guide me, lead me, and pave the way, which we're as women supposed to believe, right? When you love somebody and you believe someone has your back. And it didn't pan out that way. But I had the resource of my work ethic that my mom instilled in me was, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna get you a degree, you're gonna be better. You're gonna do better than I did, and I goddamn did. So thank you, mommy.
Good Chachi, go ahead.
Thank you, mommy. Thank you, mommy, for that. And I feel like as women, we've gotta have our own. We've gotta work for our own. Don't let a man tell you, look, I know y'all wanna be lazy. We all wanna be lazy. I mean, who don't want their feet just rubbed all day and, bags and clothes? I don't want that, but I understand what it is. You should want more for yourself by having it and getting it yourself. What a person can do for you should just be an extra entity. It should just be well, this is great, this is nice. But you should be able to do for you. And honestly, this is why we're having this podcast, is because I want to encourage women, like, teach your kids, go to school, you yourself, stop falling victim to a man telling you what he can do when you know it probably is halfway not the truth.
Not true. Well, and some parents, I think this might be an older school thought process, but some parents have said to the women, get married and find yourself a rich man. Like, that's their intention. Find yourself a rich man, marry into money. And no. Because then it's crazy, because my husband was just recently talking about this when he said the same thing of, when you do that, like for him, he was honest as a man. He said, because he came into a lot of money very early on as a teenager, and he said, I used the money as a weapon. That's what I did to women.
But that's what but men know what they can do. So, men know that they can do. They know their power. Yeah. And I feel like that's why it's important for us to encourage women to see your power too, and to understand that, like, you can have your own and still appreciate what a guy can do for you.
You choose yourself, to choose you.
We love you guys. We hope that our rambling today has taught you something. You can walk away with something today and just know, as human beings, you are worth more. Yeah. You deserve more, and to continue on just your healing journey. I know that I'm continuing. You are not alone. I am here for you, on the other side, with you. We love you. And until next time.
Keep healing.
Keep healing.
Choose you.
Wounds in the way.